Welcome to Pocket Ronnie, where we save your mathematical life.
Okay, we are adding and subtracting fractions with radicals. So you have already seen this, but now we are adding two fractions together with radicals in the denominator. So the first step you need to do, if you want to write it in words, the first step is always to get rid of the radical in the denominator. So I have to multiply this one by square root of 5 to get rid of the radical in the denominator. If I do the denominator by square root of 5, I have to do the numerator by square root of 5. I multiplied this one by square root of 6 to get rid of the radical in the denominator. Okay, so now my new fractions are this one, 3 times square root of 5 in my numerator. Square root of 5 times square root of 5 is square root of 25. Over here I have 4 square root of 6. Square root of 6 times square root of 6 is square root of 36. Okay, now I can simplify these radicals in the denominator. So this will be 3 square root of 5 over 5. Just let me write down here. Just ignore that. 3 square root of 5 all over 5 plus 4 square root of 6 all over 6. Do not cancel this 5 with this 5. This is a whole number, this is a radical. You cannot cancel whole numbers to radicals, okay? Now the next step is to make a common denominator. We are adding fractions. When you add fractions, you make a common denominator. What will our common denominator be? 30. So, which means I need to multiply this by 6, but I also have to do the numerator. This one over here, I have to multiply by 5 to get a common denominator. Now, rules of multiplying numbers and radicals. Numbers to numbers, radicals to radicals. 6 times 3, 18, square root of 5, all over 30. 5 times 4, numbers to numbers. So that'd be 20, square root of 6, all over 30. Now that we have a common denominator, when you add fractions, you combine your numerators. So we can say 18 square root of 5 plus 20 square root of 6 all over 30, all over one denominator. Now you look, square root of 5 is not the same kind as square root of 6, so you cannot combine those. You can only combine them if they are the same kind. Now you look to see, can you simplify your radicals? Can we simplify square root of 5 any more than that? No. Can we simplify square root of 6 any more than that? No, because we cannot pull out a perfect square from either one of them. Once you look to see if you can simplify your radicals, look to see can you reduce your numbers. I can reduce 18, 20, and 30 all by the same number. You can only reduce if you can reduce all three of them by the same number. So I can reduce 18, 20, and 30 all by 2. But I have to be able to reduce all three of them. If I can only reduce 2, you don't do it. You have to be able to reduce all 3 or you don't do it. So I'm going to reduce all 3 of them by 2. So reducing 18 by 2 leaves a 9, square root of 5. Reduce 20 by 2 leaves you 10, square root of 6. And reduce 30 by 2 is 15. And then that should be your final answer. Essentially what I did up here is I factored out a 2. If I factored out a 2 up here, that would leave 9 square root of 5 plus 10 square root of 6 all over 30. Now I can reduce 2 and 30 because 2 is being multiplied to this. And that's how I get, that would become a 1 and that would become a 15. That's how you reduce. You can either factor your numbers out of the numerator and then cancel the denominator, or you can just reduce all 3 of them at the same time like I did. Okay, now let's look at 4D10. First step, get rid of the radical in the denominator. So I need to multiply both of these, or both the numerator and denominator by square root of 3. On this one, I need to multiply the numerator and denominator by square root of 2. So my new fraction now is 9 square root of 3. Square root of 3 times square root of 3 is square root of 9, plus 6 times the square root of 2. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 is square root of 4. Now I can simplify my denominators, the perfect square. When you multiply a radical to itself, you're going to end up with a perfect square. Square root of 9 is just 3. Square root of 4 is 2. Now I need to make a common denominator. So my common denominator would be 6, which means I multiply this fraction by 2 and I multiply this fraction by 3. Numbers to numbers and radicals to radicals. Numbers to numbers means this would be 18 square root of 3 all over 6 plus 6 times 3, 18 square root of 2 all over 6. Now that I have the same denominator, I can combine my numerator and write it all over one denominator. Oop, I don't know where I was thinking 10. 6. Square root of 3 and square root of 2 are not the same kind, so you cannot combine them. But then I look to see, can I simplify my radicals? I cannot simplify square root of 3 or square root of 2 anymore. Now I look to see, can I reduce my whole numbers? 18, 18, and 6 can all be reduced by 6. If I can reduce all 3 of them, then I can reduce it. So I'm going to reduce each one of those by 6. 6 goes into 18 3 times, so that'd be 3 square root of 3. Reducing this by 6 would be 3. And then reducing the denominator by 6 would be 1, but you don't have to write that. You can just write it as 3 square root of 3 plus 3 square root of 2. And that would be your final answer.